Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. We are back with yet another important lecture on the revision series that we are doing in the YouTube channel. So we bring out to you the most important highlights of the economic survey, right? So as you all know that economic survey is one of the very key documents in the examination, right? So from the economic survey, you can expect at least 5 direct questions. So let us quickly begin, and you never know, it can be more. It can be there in the descriptive as well. So let's quickly start and let's begin with the introduction. What is economic survey at the first place? So this is an flagship annual document of the finance ministry, right? It reviews the economic development in India over the past financial year. So basically it is a kind of health report of the economy, where the chief economic advisor who gives out this report will bring out what has happened in the economy with the suggestion that what should government do. Now it is not mandatory for the government to accept all the proposal given in the economic survey, but yes, government do consider. Then who presents it? The economic survey is presented every year in the parliament during the budget session, right? So one day before the union budget. The economic survey is presented a day before the presentation of the union budget in the parliament by the finance minister. Now, so there is something important for the economic survey 2021-22. What is that? That this is not penned or written by the chief economic advisor. Why? I'll tell you the reason. This was a team. This survey was drafted by a team led by the principal economic advisor Sanjeev Sanyal, right? The report is usually penned by the India's chief economic advisor, but during the time, economic survey is not a document that is prepared overnight, right? It requires a lot of time. But India's chief economic advisor, now V. Anantha Nageshwaran has been appointed to the post only days before the budget. So the new chief economic advisor was appointed just before the budget in the month of Feb. So that's why he did not get enough time to do it. That's why this was done by the principal economic advisor Sanjeev Sanyal. So please remember it. Now, so again, there is something important for this economic survey is that it has reverted to one volume report format after 8 years. So, except this year, previous 8 years were two format, part 1 and part 2, right? But particular this economic survey 21-22 is just one has released in only one part. So why is economic survey presented before the budget, right? So it is for you to read. I have already explained the reason. So now a brief history of the economic survey. Let us know it quickly. That the first economic survey was presented when? In the year 1950-51. So until 1964, it was prepared along the union budget. But later it just disjointed from the union budget to give a better understanding of the budget proposal. Got it? So from 1964, it's the separate document from union budget. Now, let's move forward and let's see the chapter 1. The chapter 1 is state of the economy, right? State of the economy. Now, as per the chapter 1, what does advance estimate tells, right? So all this data, I hope you already know it. And as of now, when you are looking this lecture, right, and when you will read for your examination, you will have many updated data. That is fine. But the data from economic survey is also important because, the questions can be directly framed by quoting economic survey. For example, as per the economic survey, what was the advanced estimate suggest about the Indian economy or something like that. Means question will directly come by quoting the economic survey. So even if the data is old, the economic survey is new for you, right? So here you will have to know each and every data that is given in economic survey. Now we present to you the most important thing that you should know from each chapter, right? So let's quickly begin with the chapter 1. Advanced estimates suggest that the Indian economy is expected to witness real GDP expansion of 9.2% in 21-22 after contracting in 2021. So 9.2. Agriculture and allied sector expected to grow by 3.9% in 2021 after growing 3.6% in the previous percentage. Right? Now, as per the GVA of industry, including mining and construction, it will rise by 11.8% in 2021 after contracting 7% in 2021. Right? Service sector will grow by 8.2% after a contraction of 8.4%. Means you see the service sector is contracting this year as per the survey. Now, so when I say this year, I do mean about the previous financial year, right? Not now. We are in April, right? We are in April, but if I say this does mean that I am speaking about March and before. So, total consumption estimated to grow by 0.7% in 2021-22. Okay? Now, inflation has reappeared as a global issue in both advanced and emerging economies. India's consumer price index inflation stood at 5.6% year on year in December 21. So these are news forums, so you will get confused. Let me tell you. So when you read this line, right, I am pretty sure you will get confused whether you will have to remember this, because this is from December 2021. How is this data relevant? But let me tell you one thing. Yes, you are right in your logic that how is this data relevant, because you are reading in April, you would give an exam next month. But understand one thing, you are reading from which document? You are reading from economic survey, right, which will be the latest one till next year. So any exam that is happening in 2022, examiner can ask you directly quoting economic survey. So even if logically that seems this seems like this data is quite old, but let me tell you, this data is quite new for you, quite latest for you, because if question is being framed asking economic survey, you don't have any other option. You will have to answer what is given in the survey. Okay, so let's quickly move to trends. So trends in agriculture, right? What does trend shows in agriculture? It shows that it growth by 3.9% on top of 3.6 and 4.3% respectively in previous 2 years. The sector now accounts for 18.8% of GVA. Very important line. What is the contribution of agriculture? It's 18.8% of GVA. Right? So very, very important data. Now let's move to industrial output and PMI. So again, industrial output and PMI are very important because this shows the overall sentiment of the economy. Now, in contrast to the steady performance of the primary sector, the industrial sector went through a big swing with the first contracting 7% in 2021, then expanding by 11.8% in this financial year since Jan 2021. Means there was a slowdown initially, then it picked up, right? Because during this second wave, the economy was almost close. So it was not as close as it was in first wave, but during the second wave, it was a chaos, because you remember there was oxygen shortage. So all the steel industry which required oxygen were closed, right? So again, see, steel industry is related to automobile industry as well. So when there is no supply of steel, then there cannot be any infrastructure development. There cannot be the automobile manufacturing. So all were eventually slowed down because of just one reason. So with this data also shows that, right? So see, whatever I tell you is an assessment from the economic survey, but what you see in your screen is the very important data. So both are important. What you see in your screen and what I tell you in the audio, right? Both are important. Now, the widely used Purchasing Manager Index, means PMI, has remained in expansionary zone, that is over 50. So I think you know that PMI above 50 shows growth and below 50 it shows slowdown. right? Except for one when the second wave has slowed down the economic activity, right? That is what I told you. Then let's move to the housing index, steel and cement. Okay, so housing index is shows as rising capital expenditure by the government on infrastructure and an upstick in the housing cycle has been responsible for reviving the construction sector. See, capital expenditure, I tell you how. First of all, the highway projects were in full swing, right? From MOT, Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, plus Manrega. Because Manrega also tends to create, capital assets, right? So all those things combined, the economy was, revived using those factors. Then, so this has allowed the consumption and production of steel and cement consumptions to revert to pre-COVID level. Okay, so it's particularly the government push that has led to consumption of steel and cement sector. So steel and cement shows infrastructure development. So as you all know, both the industry comes in the core industry, right? Now, statistics provided by the RBI and leading real estate companies show significant revival in the Indian residential real market in 2021 in terms of growth in sales price and new launches. So there were slowdown, but yes, eventually it picked up. Then let's move to the service sector. So I hope you already know service sector. Service sectors means IT sector, health, tourism, etc. Right? So all these are service sector. Now, service accounts for more than a half of the Indian economy and was the most impacted by the COVID-19 related restriction. Obviously, except health, almost. So IT also, work from home was adopted, but tourism was badly hit. Even you can say it is hit at present as well. Okay, badly hit throughout the world. So tourism was badly hit, especially for activities that need human contact. So again, see, tourism means, don't consider tourism as a small sector. So tourism has a multiple subsector, you can say. Hotel industry, okay, restaurant industry, then you can say bus service, then you can take train service, then you can say airways service, right? So multiple effect of it. Then, although the overall sector first contracted by 8.4% in 2021 and then is estimated to grow by 8.2% in 21-22. Okay, it should be noted that there is a wide dispersion of performance by both subsector, right? So both finance, real estate and the public administration segment are now well above pre-COVID level. However, segments like travel, trade, hotel are yet to fully recover. So this sector where there were human contacts, okay, so you can book hotel online, but you can't stay online, right? So if you have to go to hotel, you have to physically present there, and that is where the restriction was, okay, that you can't move physically from one place to another. That's why all this industry was badly hit. Whereas finance, where you can do almost anything online. Real estate, obviously, you can sell, you can purchase of house, from the remote location as well. Although it was affected, but not that much. Then public administration and all. Okay. Then comes the demand trends. Okay. Latest estimates suggest full recovery of all components on demand side in 22, financial year 22, except for private consumption. See, now private consumption. So you remember the expenditure method of calculating GDP? C plus I plus G plus X minus M. I hope you remember it. What is private consumption? This C component, right? The C component is the private consumption. So private consumption was hit. Why it was hit? Okay. Why private consumption of hit? Because people saved money. Why people saved money? Because people were not sure, right, what kind of wave is coming in future. So in the first wave, the entire economy was, shut. In the second wave, India saw the drastic requirement for oxygen. People were literally fighting for oxygen, right? So they, saved money to cover their future expenses, right? So they only bought, and when I say they means we are the people, right? You, me, our family, your family, and the entire public of the country, right? Everyone tried to save money. We were only purchasing those things that were essential and were required to live a normal life. We were not going towards luxury, right? We were not going towards anything else. So in that sense, private consumption was very much down. Means the demand for the private consumption was very much low. See, private consumption is a very big topic, right? It has very big topic. It doesn't mean, see, private consumption means what you eat, that will come in private consumption. Let's say you buy a car, that is also a private consumption, but that is a consumption, a kind of luxury consumption. You don't buy a car every day, but you buy food every day, right? You buy vegetables every day. You buy maybe, petrol for your bike, or if you have car, for every day. So these are consumptions. So all their demands. So yes, when I say petrol, so demands were less. Why demands were less? Because mostly people were working from home, the movement were restricted, hence was the fuel consumption. So in multiple way, you can say that this were the reasons for the demand trends not going up. Okay. Okay, so this is the chart that you can see, but obviously there is no point discussing this chart. So let's move forward. Let's see the consumption. Okay, means this consumption is estimated to grow by 7% in 21-22, with government consumption remaining the biggest contributor as in the previous year. Okay. Government consumption is estimated to grow strong by 7.6%, surpassing pre-pandemic level. Private consumption is also estimated to have improved significantly to recover 97% of the corresponding pre-pandemic output level. So, consumption was mostly driven by what? Driven by the government consumption. Okay. The government were heavily spending. So when government spend, it have a very much ripple effect in the economy, right? And that is how the consumption was boosted. Then comes the investment. So investment as measured by how? Gross fixed capital formation, okay? GFCF. This is denoted by I in the expenditure method, okay? Is expected to see strong growth of 15% in 21-22 and achieve a full recovery of pre-pandemic level. Government policy thrust on quickening vicious cycle of the growth via capex. Capex is capital expenditure, right? And infrastructure spending has increased capital formation in the economy, lifting the investment to GDP ratio to about 29.6% in 21-22, the highest in 7 years. So, this is one of the very important thing that you can't really miss. So let us understand this, okay? So what is capex? Capex is capital expenditure. Means government has spent their money on the infrastructure creations, means road, highways, airports, railways, everything. So I think you remember one of the news that Indian Railway has, used the time during the lockdown when the train was not running to overhaul the railway, right? They have changed the track, they have electrified, they have done, mostly majority of the works that was supposed to be done. So they did it. So when railway does work, so that's an infrastructure creation. Railway spends money, that goes into the hand of people. People spends that money, and that is how economy gets boosted. Again, the capital expenditure is also the same thing. So in that sense, what we have seen is that due to that, the economic, due to those all activities, the investment to GDP ratio is about 29.6% in 21-22, the highest in 7 years. So believe me, you can't, literally miss this data. Okay. Now, let's move to the first. So see, there are a few lines that I'm explaining. There are a few lines I expect you to read, right? So there is not much to explain. Those are the connecting points. When you read, you will eventually understand it. So let's move to export and import. Okay. So India's export for both goods and service has been exceptionally strong so far. Okay, so merchandise export have been above USD 30 billion for eight consecutive months in 21-22. So see, economic survey also highlights the merchandise export, which is $418 billion USD billion till 31st March 2022, right? So we have closed the financial year 22 with 800 billion merchandise export. So we have crossed 400 for the first time. So there are multiple reasons, right, how we have done it. Now India's total exports expected to grow by 16.5% in 21-22, surpassing the pre-pandemic level. And yes, that we have seen in the actual data as well. It's 418 billion. Okay. Now, imports are expected to grow by 29.4% in 21-22, surpassing corresponding pre-pandemic level. Imports are also expected to grow. But yes, obviously imports should grow, but substantially the exports should grow higher. But what we can see is that export growing by 16.5%, whereas import by 29.4%, almost nearing double. So this shows that there would be, balance of payment issue. So when I say that doesn't mean I'm completely talking about how Sri Lanka is going on. No. So, but yes, when you have to spend more dollar and receive less dollar, so obviously there will be a mismatch. So those mismatch RBI is managing. How RBI is managing? That is a separate point of discussion that we would discuss in another lecture. Okay. Now, let's move to the next one and let's understand one of the, so we have come to the very important point. Okay. Barbell strategy, safety nets and agile response. Now, what is barbell strategy? Let us understand this. Look, it was very uncertain during the COVID, right? Nobody knew. See, no country, no healthcare professional, no one had the experience of corona before. So it is new for every government. It is new for every medical professional. It is new for every intergovernmental body who are issuing advisory, right? So how they are doing it? They are doing it based on their real-time situation, right? So this uncertainty is called barbell. This kind of response is called barbell strategy. The government of India opted for a barbell strategy that combines a boutique of safety nets to cushion the impact of vulnerable section of the society with a flexible policy response based on the base and updating of information. So what government was doing, government was, taking feedback from every sectors of the economy, right? It was using data from, its own sources. State government, then private organization, then it was getting data from, any other sources, all the sources were open. So those sources gave the, real-time feedback to the government, and based on that, government adopted real-time adjustment, and based on that, it was an agile response. Now, what is an agile response? A new word came up. So let's see the agile response. So agile response is a well-established intellectual framework that is increasingly used in the field of project management and technology development. Means in an uncertain environment, you do not know actually, because you don't have any experience of that uncertainty. That is the important thing of an agile response. So what you do, you constantly change the, you constantly change in your plan based on the feedback that you receive. So the feedback that you receive are very high frequency indicators. Okay, very high frequency means even if you make a small changes, the effect it is going to have in economy is drastic, right? For example, in the second wave, there were shortage of, there were, acute respiratory problem. Okay, so people needed oxygen, but India did not have that much medical oxygen. So what government immediately does was that all the industry, the steel industry, okay, the petroleum industry, who can manufacture oxygen. So government has asked them, they modify their plant, they tweak something, so they had to tweak some small thing so that the output of oxygen that comes as the medical grade, and then that was, that was supplied to all over the world, especially steel plant, because steel plant steel plants, there is a huge no, let me put it in this way. Steel plant, to run the steel plant, they need huge amount of oxygen. Okay, so steel plant have in-house system to produce the oxygen, but what they produce is an industrial grade oxygen. Okay, not the medical grade. So they were asked to tweak and send all the oxygen that they can to all over the country, and a logistic system was built. Okay, so that is known as high frequency indicator. So once you know the problem, you immediately take the action and the economy respond to it very quickly. That doesn't take time. Okay, so such information include GST collection, power consumption, mobility indicators, digital payment, satellite photographs, cargo movement, highway toll collection, and so on. How? Let me tell you. Power consumption. At one point, you see, the industrial area, the power consumption is 0. Let's say, let us hypothetically understand. So what does this mean? This means that the industries are closed, because how is the industry going to run without power? Absolutely it can't. So it shows that mobility indicator, or let's say, a digital payment. So if people are paying, means people are going out, right? If people are paying from the internet, means people are at home. So that is how government, changed its planning. Highway toll collection. Okay, so if the toll collected in the highway are only trucks, that means the restriction of the people in the private cars, buses is restricted. So using all those data, the government had, arrived at that kind of planning. Okay, so now what were those safety net? Because government was immediately responding to the challenges that was coming in the economy, and government was adopting some safety nets. Now what are these safety nets? These safety nets are cash transfer, 500 per month for 3 months to women of Jan Dhan account holder, 1000 to vulnerable section, widows, Divyanjans and elderly. Then PM Kisan, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, 6,000 per year in 3 installments, means 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. And this 2,000 will go to them at a time when there is no activity, no economic activity from their end. Because see, as a farmer, first is they will put the plant, then they will sit for few days, then there is harvesting. First is cultivation, then they will sit for few days, then there is harvesting. So here, this is the time where they will need the money the most for their personal consumption, and even if something is required in the field for that as well. So government is sending this money during this time so that there is no economic crisis for them. Now 30,944 crore released to 20.64 women beneficiaries, 2,814 crore released covering 2.82 crore beneficiaries, means widows, Divyanjan and elderlies. Then 1.8 lakh crore transferred to more than 10 crore farmer families as on 1/1/2022 since Feb 2029. That is 6 installments since COVID-19. Okay, so these are very, very important. Now let's see the food security. So some changes were made to Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. One nation, one ration card. Now why one nation, one ration card? Because let's say the laborer of a Bihar is working in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Okay, so he can't use his ration card because his ration card was given by the government of Bihar, which he can't use in the Maharashtra. But after this one nation, one ration card was came into force, they could use it. Means everyone were given a central platform. So that has helped the people of the country. So this has enabled in 34 state union territory by August 21, covering 94.3% National Food Security Act population. So this is one of the steps taken by the government. Then let's see the next one, that is skill development. Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramin Kaushal Yojana. So for financial year 21, 38,289 candidates trained and 49,563 candidates placed in the job. So these are very crucial data that you should know. Okay, then let's move to the next one. So see, again for financial year 22 as on 30/10/21. Okay, but see, this is the half data. So here you can say that you can, since you have the, a complete data now, so go with the complete data. Then Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana covering 6 states. Okay, 1.2 lakh migrant worker trained as on 21/11/2021. So when you go all through this, you will find very, very important. So I'm not reading all those for you because this is already given in the economic survey material that we have. So just scrolling through it, so you can read for employment, then you can read for MSME. So look, MSME, one very important thing is that ECLGS, okay, which you should remember by heart. So there is nothing in ECLGS that you can miss. Why? Because MSME sector is one of the backbone of Indian economy at the first place. Second, MSME sector was one sector which was, almost broken during the time of COVID. So all these schemes help revive it. Although you can say out of 100, only maybe out of 100 only 90 could be revived. 10 has already gone. Okay, because of COVID, they could not be revived. So that is the important thing that you should know. 2.28 lakh crore disbursed to 95.2 lakh crore, 2 lakh borrowers, impacting 5.4 crore employees as on 19/11/21. Okay, 66% of the guarantee amount disbursed to MSME extended till 31/3/2022. So this is completely as per the economic survey. Okay, then comes the credit. Okay, then comes the credit. So one of the things that that was done during the time of COVID was the increasing minimum threshold from 1 lakh to 1 crore, suspension of initiation of corporate insolvency process under the IBC for 1 year, and increasing minimum threshold for 1 lakh to 1 crore. So for 1 year, IBC was suspended. It was why? Because when is IBC triggered? IBC is triggered when their loans becomes NPA. So when they could not do, mostly MSME, when they could not do, or the small corporates, guys, when they could not do the business because of the lockdown and slowdown in the economy, obviously most of them will get into the law. Since this is a law, this has to be suspended for 1 year, that government did, and also increased the minimum threshold from 1 lakh to 1 crore. Right? So few important things that are very important. Then 45,000 crore partial credit guarantee 2.0 for NBFC, HFC and MFI for fresh lending to MSME and individual. Okay, very, very important data. Now, rupees 30,000 additional emergency working capital fund for farmers through NABARD. Okay, through NABARD. So all the government machinery was used. Then Kisan Credit Card Special Drive 2 lakh crore concessional credit boost to 2.5 crore farmers. More than 1.5 crore Kisan Credit Card issued with a credit limit of 1.3 lakh crore. 35 lakh crore. Okay. So now you can read all these three at least 4 to 5 times, because these are data and it's obvious that you will tend to forget. So here revision would be the key. So please do revise it from the material. Then let's move to the next one, that is monetary and financial support. So as per the Monetary Policy Committee, it has cut repo rate by 115 basis point in repo rate during Feb to May 2022, on top of the reduction of 135 BPS in the preceding 12 months. So RBI had been reducing it drastically, right? Since then, MPC has maintained status quo on the policy repo rate unchanged at 4%. Okay, then the MSF at 4.25% and the reverse repo rate 3.35%. Now this line is important. Rest these two lines, please read it from the latest monetary policy that was done in this month, right? So let's now move forward and let's see high frequency indicators. So see, high frequency indicators, you remember when we were learning about Agile Response. So there are more than, there are 18 numbers, right? But these are few to be listed. For example, e-way bill generation, air passenger traffic, foreign trade, crude oil price, FDI and FPI, domestic tractor sale, retail prices, equity market, and etc. Just go through it, you are going to understand, right? If not, please do comment in the comment section so that we can answer your query. Then comes the macroeconomic stability, right? So just have a quick glance over it, that would be enough. And let's move to the next one, that is external sector, right? So external sector, let's see. This despite all disruption caused by the global pandemic, India's balance of payment remains in surplus throughout the year in the last 2 years. Now, you will have to think one thing. So the import is high, the export is less, then still why our balance of payment is on surplus is because of the intervention by the RBI, right? See, RBI is not only for paying the import bill and receiving the import bill, right? If it does, then obviously there would be an economic crisis. There would not be any surplus. So this surplus is because RBI invest in the foreign market, right? US security bond, European bond, and multiple things like that. And when RBI earn interest on it, so that is how the RBI has, managed to keep that in surplus throughout the last 2 years. But see, this particular thing cannot be explained in one line and in 10 seconds to 20 seconds, right? Which I did. So that was obviously just to make you understand, or just to give you a glance. But that itself is a very big topic and has multiple things into it, right? That how did RBI manage to keep the balance of payment in surplus? Now, as of 31st December 21, India's foreign currency reserve was at USD 634 billion. Look, you will have to remember this data as well because this is given in the economic survey. And what is latest, you will have to remember that as well. And let me tell you, the latest is much less than 634 billion is because, high crude oil at present, the RBI is paying more dollars for the same crude oil. So that's the reason. Then, and this is equivalent to how much? This is equivalent to 13.2 months of imports and higher than the country's external debt. Okay, means whatever debt we have, it's higher than that, and 13.2 months of import. So that's quite good. As of November 21, India was the 4th largest foreign exchange reserve holder in the world after China at number 1, Japan at number 2, Switzerland at number 3, and India at number 4, right? So this is again one of the very important point. They can directly ask you who has stopped. It is China, or they can ask you what's the India's position. That is 4th. Okay, remember Japan is a Quad member, so anything related to Japan is also important, and it is also important because Japan PM had been in India in the month of April itself, right? So anything when you read something related to Japan and India, so that also becomes important. Then comes the fiscal balance. Okay, so fiscal balance, you can see the important things, but yes, regarding fiscal, we have a separate chapter in the economic survey. When we go through it, we will understand, but yes, let's see. The revenue receipt for the central government has gone up by 67.2% year on year as against the estimated growth of 9.6% in the budget, right? So the tax receipt, the revenue receipt of the central government has gone up. Then comes the financial sector. The financial sector is always a possible area of strength during the turbulence time. Yes, during the COVID also, and during when the Russia and Ukraine war is going on at this time also. However, India's capital market has done exceptionally well and has allowed record mobilization of capital risks for Indian companies. The Sensex and Nifty touch its peak. You will have to know this data, right? On October 18, 2021. Okay. Among major emerging market economies, Indian market outperformed its peers in April-December 2021. Then, the year 2021-22 so far. Okay, so let's not read everything. Let us understand that many IPOs came during the month of April-November 2021, right? So rupees 89,066 crore has been raised via 75 IPO during April to November 2021, and even after that, most of the IPO except few of the IPO like Paytm, have given negative returns to the investors. But yes, rest almost everyone have given the positive results. So almost everyone, right? I'm not telling everyone, almost everyone. So give the positive return. Still you could see the IPOs are coming. The LIC IPO is coming. So then let's move to the next one, that is inflation. So CPI moderated to 5.2% in 21-22 from 6.6% in the corresponding period of 2021. Okay. So this is it was 5.6% year on year in December 21, which is within the targeted tolerance band. So what is the tolerance band? It's 4 to 6%, right? Then let's see the supply side reforms. Okay, so there were mostly commonly two things that has happened. Reform that improve flexibility and innovation in order to deal with the long-term unpredictability of the post-COVID world, and reform aimed at improving the resilience of the Indian economy. Okay, so rest you read, you will get to know. So these are the few key reforms that you have seen earlier, right? So I'm not going to read all. So it is your responsibility to go through it. There is no particular data. You won't find any data in this key supply side reforms. But yes, going at least 2 times would give you a fair idea of what has happened in the economy. And that is what you need for your descriptive, right? And for descriptive, believe me, videos, reading will help more than looking video, right? For descriptive especially, and rest for everything, if you watch just video, that would be fine. But yes, the good way is to supplement the video is by reading the notes, right? So this particular thing that you are going to do. So with this, let's now move to the next one. Let's see what is there. Okay, let's see the growth outlook. So growth outlook we have already seen above. So let's not repeat things here. Okay, then comes the fiscal development. So see, chapter 1 is a comprehensive view of the entire economy. From chapter 2 to rest of the chapter are very short, and we would give a very selective reading to it because all the important things are mostly covered in chapter 1. But yes, here we would find some in-depth data which we have covered. Okay. So what we can see. So in fiscal development, what we have seen that government has given 80.96 crore beneficiaries, right? What? Emergency credit, world's largest food subsidy program. So this is the quantum of benefits that was given by the central government. So obviously that would need the money. So you see, as of June 21, okay, you see that stimulated package for the COVID-19 is this much, and just go through it. So see, again I tell you, this data are absolutely not important, but when you go through it, it will give you a comprehensive view what has happened in the economy. That's it. Now it's about the receipt. So there is nothing as such that you should remember. But yes, see, this is a very big, the original economic survey is, more than 400-page document. So we have comprehend it to somewhere around, 50 to 51 page. So 50 to 51 page, you can give it at least 2 times reading, right? And that is what you are expected to do. So let's not cover everything in the video, but yes, certain thing which you should know, like the total expenditure of the government increased by 8.8% during April to November, stood at 59.6% of the budget estimate. Okay, so budget estimate came when? 1st of Feb 2021. The budget estimate came for 21-22. So during the month of April to November, okay, 8.8%, 59.6% of the budget estimate were already consumed because of that uncertainty. Okay, so let's then move to the, so you see the capital expenditure by the government. So all this data are for the month of April to November, right? The assessment was done from April to November. So these are all, half yearly data, you can see. Fiscal deficit also we have seen above. Now transferred to states. Okay, so transferred to state as per 15th Finance Commission, and the period is 21-22 to 25-26. This is the period of the Finance Commission. So if you don't know about Finance Commission, then we would say that we have a very good video on our YouTube channel. Please do search. That video is in 2 parts, somewhere around 1 hour video, 60 minutes. But let me draw the line and let me tell you that 1 hour would be the best investment that you can do after watching this lecture, right? Even if you know it, please do watch it by increasing the speed if you don't want to spend the entire 1 hour. And if you do not know anything about Finance Commission, I would say do not rush. Watch it for the 1 hour, part 1 first, part 2 then, 5 minutes break in between, and you will understand everything about Finance Commission. Okay, so this was the allocation based on the 15th Finance Commission. Then comes the public debt. Okay, so public debt is largely owned by the institutional segment like bank, insurance company, provident fund. Okay, so the share of commercial banks stood at 37. See, this data is not important, but what is important, what you see, that the share of commercial bank is higher. Simple, because, and now when you know it, you will think, okay, so obviously commercial bank would be higher. This is how you think. But when you do not know this data, right, and when there is a question in front of you, and question is asking you like this, as per the economic survey, the public debt is largely owned by which of the following organization? They would give options like bank, insurance company, provident fund, mutual funds, or they would give none of the above. Then I'm pretty sure you are going to confuse. Then you will have to apply the elimination method, and then probably many of you can answer that yes, commercial bank is the right answer. But if you have gone through it, then it would have been an easy guess, right? So let's now move to the state finance. So let's not get into the state finance, just go through it. You will understand. Then comes the external sector. Okay, so let us read this line. The revival in export was also helped by timely initiative by the government. USA followed by UAE. China remained the top export destination is April, November 21, while China, UAE and USA were the largest import sources for India. So what you have to remember, both the 3 countries at the same place. We have the majority of the export that we have done is to USA, then to UAE, then to China. But majority of the imports that we have imported is from China at number 1, UAE at number 2, USA at number 3. Very crucial data, right? So there are few crucial data which I will take you through. Rest everything, you will have to read it on your own. So it's not possible that 51 pages lecture I read line by line, then you will become bored, right? So despite weak tourism revenue, there was a significant peak in the net service received during the April to December 21, account of the robust software and business earning, right? So see, service sector, the tourism revenue was down, but the service sector, माने वो बोलते हैं ना कि सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज ने अपना काम सही किया. So robust software and business earning. So that has led that sector not to weaken. Although other service sector were, got some weak. Whereas the software sector got even stronger. Then let's then move to the next one, merchandise export. Okay, see, exports you already know. So see, India has a target of 400 billion from the beginning. And when the economic survey was made, the April-December period, already India achieved USD 300 billion. Okay, or 75% of the target, that is 301.4 billion. Only 100 billion was left, which was done from the Jan, Feb and March, and we ended up to 418 billion by exporting 418 billion. Now read this. USA remained the top export destination is April-November, followed by UAE and China. Okay, so major initiative to boost export. What were the major initiative? This is the important. Remissions of duties and taxes exported products, developing district as export hub, then PLI schemes, production linked incentive PLI scheme, electronic platform for preferential certificate of origin, infusion of capital in Exim Bank, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India Limited for insurance cover, then export promotion capital good schemes, right? So merchandise import. So let's see the import as well. So gold import registered sharp rise to USD 33.2 billion. Why gold rise? It's because of the safe investment. Now, major commodities that were imported were crude oil imports more than doubled. Okay, so now these are the top countries from where import origin. It was China, UAE, USA were the top import sources for India. China share reducing to 15.7% from 17% in corresponding year a year earlier. Okay, so even if we say that Chinese product, we do import a lot of things from China because China is the #1 destination for India's import. Then comes the merchandise trade balance, which is, okay, you can go through import and export, balance of payment and foreign exchange we have already seen. So let's move to the chapter 4, monetary management and financial intermediation. Okay, so few important points which we have already read. So you can see the repo rate at the 6th of Feb 2022, it was 5.14%, and then it was reduced to 4%, and still it's 4%. Okay, and so on the other rates. So, and monetary management is more sort of, current data will mostly be there in the examination. But few things that you should know is measure taken by RBI to provide target liquidity support system in 21-22 included special refinance facility of 66,000 crore to all India AIFI, All India Financial Institution, comprising 25,000 crore to NABARD. You remember where this 25,000 has gone? We have seen above that this 25,000 crore were given to the farmers in need through NABARD. So RBI has given to NABARD. So that is how, things channelize. Then 10,000 crore to the National Housing Bank, 31,000 crore to Small Industry Development Bank of India, SEBI. Then term liquidity facility, 50,000 crore to ramp up COVID related healthcare infrastructure and service in the country. So this were mostly given to, health industry, you can see. Then a special long-term repo operation for a small finance bank of rupees 10,000 crore to support small business units, micro and small industries. Let's move to the banking sector. So in the banking sector, the gross NPA ratio decreased from 7.5% at end September 22 to 6.9%. So this means, okay, the NPA decreased. But here you will have to think, during the COVID, certain rules for NPA calculation were also changed, right? And that is how the data has come out. Okay, so you should consider that as well. Now, development in market. So equity, we have already seen that IPO of 75 company garnered 89,066 crore as compared to 29 company raising 14,733 crore during the last year same time, right? So you can say a drastic change in the equity sentiment of the country. So in the same way, you can go for the debt, mutual funds, FPI and all. So development in insurance and pension sector. So insurance sector was in pain because COVID related settlements were high during the COVID time. Insurance penetration is 2.71% in 2001, has steadily increased to 4.2% in 22. Still you see only 4.2%, means out of 100 only 4 people have insurance, rest they do not have. So rest you go through this data, it would be fine. Then IBC, we have already seen the important part of IBC in the previous chapter. Then prices and inflation. So yeah, we have already seen it, but yes, there are certain things that you should go through it. So I'm just taking you through the chapters, but very few important points that we have already discussed. So what you will find important here, let's say consumer price inflation in select countries. So you will find the comparative study, right? So this is India, right? This blue line is India. You see this Brazil. What is the condition of Brazil? The inflation, right? So this line is for UK, then US. So you can say US is little above us, but we and UK are almost at the same path when it comes to CPI. So this is completely as per the economic survey, not as at present. So you will find comparative study in this chapters. So just go through it. At least 2 times you should go through it, all the data. Then sustainable development and climate change. So let us understand what is sustainable development goals. So in September 2015, 193 countries including India committed to the sustainable development goal as detailed in UN resolution transforming our world, the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. The SDG comprehensively covers social, economic and environmental dimension and built on the Millennium Development Goal, which covered the earlier 15-year period from 2020 to 2005. So I told you 2005, that's not 2015. So this 15 year, there were Millennium Development Goals because 2000 was the year of Millennium. Then comes the Sustainable Development Goal for the next 15 years, means Agenda 2030. Okay, 2030. So 193 country, which includes India, that has adopted. So now in India, what is happening that Niti Aayog is developing an index. So as per the Niti Aayog's index, Niti Aayog SDG India index and dashboard improved to 66 in 2020-21 from 60 in 1920, 57 in 18-19. Very, very important data and very crucial data, right, which you can't miss. Then, despite 2021 being a pandemic year, India performed well on 8 of the 15 SDG measured by the Niti Aayog SDG India Index. What are these? This include Goal 3, Good Health and Well-being. Goal 5, Clean Health, Water, Sanitation. Okay, see, good health and well-being. So everywhere, you will find some of the other government scheme. 7, Affordable and Clean Energy. Okay, Ujjwala Yojana. Then Goal 10, Reduced Inequalities. Goal 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Goal 15, Goal 16, so all this. Frontrunners scoring 55 to 99 increased to 22 states UTs from 10 in 9. So let's see the data of the states. So these are the frontrunners. The overall rank of the India is 66. The rank for the Kerala is 75, Tamil Nadu 74, Himachal Pradesh it's 74, and so on. So these are the front runner state and performer states. So these are the performer states. In the performer category, India's the West Bengal, the Manipur is at 64. The West Bengal is at 62. Madhya Pradesh 62, Odisha 61, Chhattisgarh 61, and so on. Okay. So now you would find some backlog as well, like see Bihar, Jharkhand. So they have to come up. Then performance of UT on Niti Aayog SDG index, UTs. So we see that Chandigarh, Puducherry, Lakshadweep. So this is the data. So I hope you will have to remember all this, right? And you will remember. Then comes the state of the environment forest report, right? So as per the forest report, we see that Russia, Brazil, Canada, USA, China were the top 5 largest countries by the forest area in 2020. Okay, while India was the 10th largest country by forest. So let's see the data. So this 59 is the percentage of means if I say that Brazil is 100 kilometer square kilometer, then 59 square kilometer is the forest area. Rest is the land mass. Okay, and 12% is the percentage of world total forest is in Brazil. Then comes the Peru, then comes the DRC, then comes the Russia. DRC is Democratic Republic of Congo. Then comes the Indonesia, then Canada, USA, India, China, Australia. Okay. So this is in respect to 2020. So India ranks third globally in average annual net gains in forest area between 2010 to 20, means 10-year period. Okay, adding an average of 266,000 hectares of additional forest every year during the period. So rest, just go through it 2 to 3 times. These are state specific data, obviously absolutely not very much important, but yes, certainly they may ask you that which state has performed better, for example Kerala, and how did it do it, right? Bihar, which could not do it, why? So certainly you can get anything, right? So reading it at least 2 times is going to give you a comprehensive view. Then comes the state of the environment, water, river and air. Just go through it. There is there are few important things, but let me skip. It is for you to read. For climate change, so these are the missions that Government of India is running. Okay, and also in COP26, government has made a very good, big announcement that by 2030 it would reduce its carbon footprint by 50%, and by 2070 it will be net zero. Okay, then comes the finance for sustainable development. So again, you read it, you will get to know. Then comes the agriculture and food management. So here also we have seen, we have seen the crucial data, right? But what we will see here is in this chapter, what we will find is the quick comparison, right? Like, the status of edible oil, the status of sugar, the status of MSP and all. Just go through it 2 times, it would be enough. Then let's move to the next chapter. Industry and infrastructure. Okay, it's again the same thing. We have seen the important data. Here you will find the comparison. Okay, so comparison is also important, but yes, few important things which you should know. For example, see national monetization pipeline. So again, I would tell national, if you don't know about national monetization pipeline, we have a video in the YouTube. Okay, I think that is 25 to 30 minutes video. Do watch that. You will understand everything regarding national monetization pipeline. And let me tell you one more thing. When you read national monetization pipeline, please do also read about PM Gati Shakti. PM Gati Shakti. Okay, because when you read national monetization pipeline, you will tend to confuse. If you don't read PM Gati Shakti, then So if you don't know about both of them, PM Gati Shakti and the National Monetization Pipeline, so please go ahead in the YouTube channel, just you will find all the videos. I mean, these two videos are there. So none of the video is, I think, more than 30 minutes. So you can watch both and you will have a very good picture of what both are. Again, this infrastructure, road, railways, aviation, ports, these are related to, National Monetization Pipeline and the PM Gati Shakti. Then comes the industry and infrastructure. The first line itself is very important, that service sector contributes over 50% of India's GDP. Right? What is the percentage of agriculture that we have seen previously? Please do read that. Right? Then the service, PMI, freight, traffic, everything. You go through it, you will understand. So let's now move to the last chapter, that is social infrastructure and employment. Okay, so here also social sector expenditure, right? So not so much important because you are already reading all those things in chapter 1 based on the package that Government of India has allowed. So with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. We wish you very good luck from Team Grade B. Happy and thank you learning.